Good morning and welcome to the Nevada 2024 Big Game Draw. My name is Craig Burkett. I am a Senior Deputy Attorney General for the state of Nevada. I'm here to supervise the draw process. And I officially recognize now that I'm the least photogenic person you will see here today. And you will be happy for that, I'm sure. Other than maybe perhaps Mr. Crookshanks, who you'll see later. Sorry. So this is the fifth year that we've conducted the big game draw with our partner Gordon Darby here. Zach and I have, it's the fifth year that Zach and I have conducted it. I'm here for the purpose of verifying the draw, that it's being conducted consistent with the policies and directives of the Nevada Wildlife Commission, as well as to verify a few pieces of information for the public, and that is one, that the draw is being conducted here in the state of Texas. There are no Nevada Department of Wildlife employees in the building where this draw is being conducted. Gordon Darby employees are the individuals who will be conducting the draw today as the authorized vendor through the Nevada Department of Wildlife. Gordon Darby employees are prohibited from participating in Nevada's big game draw. There are no, so again, the draw is being conducted here today by Gordon Darby. The results, however, of the draw process will not be revealed today. In accordance with Nevada Administrative Code, the results of this draw will be released no later than close of business on this Friday. To provide some further verification of the process, once this draw is completed, there will be 4 flash drives created that document the draw itself. Those flash drives will be provided to one for the Department of Wildlife, one for audit purposes, one for Gordon Darby, and then one that I will retain as a representative of the Attorney General. And with that, we're done with the boring parts. Let's turn it over to Zach and get started.
All righty. Thank you, Craig, and welcome to the 2024 Nevada Big Game Tag Draw. I am a representative from the contracted vendor to run the license, draw, and vessel registration system on behalf of the Nevada Department of Wildlife. Today, we are providing a public place for the observation of the draw process and how results are generated. I am also joined here today by several guests attending remotely from the Nevada Department of Wildlife, who will be giving some updates on their respective programs and activities going on at the department. But before we get to them, for the sake of time, let's go ahead and start the draw. So 1 second here. Okay, so here's the 2024 Big Game Tag Draw. I am going to go ahead and start it off right now. I expect that this process will take about 2 hours in total, maybe a little bit less. And I'll go over everything that you're seeing here on the screen, but did want to share some details from this year's application period that interested parties may find interesting. So 2024 was a record year for applications in Nevada. 474,534 applications were submitted, which is a 9.8% increase from 2023. Those applications were submitted by 85,630 customers, which is about 300 more people applying for tags in Nevada than last year. There are a few new things to the draw this year, the biggest of which is the draw order. So when we run your applications and determine results, we do so in a specific order so that some tags are evaluated before and after others for your draw results. Last year, we had 4 groups in that draw order. The first being your Silver State applications, PIW applications, and your junior mule deer applications, followed by your antlered or male species, next being your antlerless species, and last being spike elk and your management ram hunts. This year, the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners updated the order in which the draw is processed to where we now have 8 groups where the draw is processed. So first, before any result is determined, that is done for Silver State. Then we'll move on to another group for the partnership and wildlife tags. The third group being junior mule deer. The fourth group being most of your antlered species. The fifth group being your depredation bull elk tags and your management ram tags. Your sixth group being your antlerless or female species. Seventh being spike elk, and eighth being the depredation cow elk tags. Overall, for the draw, 18,992 tags will potentially be awarded today overall. Breakout by species, which would include all sex and class, 3,847 antelope tags, 42 black bear tags, 40 California bighorn sheep tags, 4,327 elk tags, 2 moose tags, 15 mountain goat tags, 10,465 mule deer tags, 251 Nelson bighorn sheep tags, and 3 Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep tags. Also new this year, I'm sure everybody who is interested is aware, is that this will be the first year that a moose hunt is held in Nevada. There are, like I said earlier, 2 tags available for an antlered moose hunt in Nevada. And this year we received over 25,000 applications, either for a moose tag or a bonus point only application. The other new thing to be aware of is that several of our junior hunts, those units have been split between an illegal weapon hunt and a primitive weapon hunt, which I think you'll hear a little bit more about in just a bit. The draw process itself is essentially 2 steps. The first one being entry generation, which is what you are seeing now. So when you apply for a tag, we take your tag or your application and we generate random numbers for that application. And we do that based on the number of bonus points that you have for your application. And we take your bonus points and we square them to come up with the amount of random numbers your application is going to get. So these numbers that you're seeing on the screen, these are not the number of applications. They are the number of entries to the draw that are being generated based off of bonus points. So for example, you have 2 bonus points. 2 times 2 is 2 plus 1 for the year. You're going to go into the draw with 5 random numbers. So that is what you are seeing here, are the random numbers being generated. For those of you who chose to apply as a party in this year's draw, to determine the number of points for a party, we average the point balance of every party member. And that is the point that the application for the party goes into the draw for. Once all of the entries are generated, you'll see this count pause for just a few minutes. And after that pause, what is happening there is we are ordering the applications from lowest to highest random number for each application and ordering them by the specific groups of the draw order. Then the results will begin being generated. We'll start with the lowest random number, look at the first choice for that application. If tags are available, that application is marked as successful. And as we go on, if there's no tags for the first choice, go on to the second choice, all the way down to your 5th choice. And if there are no tags available for that application, it is marked as unsuccessful. The one thing to keep in mind is that for party hunts, when your party application is being evaluated for its result, there must be enough quota available for each choice to cover every member of the party. So for example, if you have a party of 3 they have a number that is good enough to draw, but there is only one tag left, then that party won't draw because there would need to be 3 tags. The other nuance to that is that for antlered mule deer, residents and non-residents can party together. In order for a mixed residency party to draw a tag, there must be quota available in both the resident pool of tags and the non-resident pool of tags. You heard me say earlier, there's over 470,000 applications this year. We couldn't possibly read the result of all of those applications here on this live stream. So folks want to know, when are they going to get their results? Results will be posted no later than the close of business on Friday, May 17th. You'll first see the results reflected on your account, along with the same time that successful applicants will be receiving a credit card charge, after which emails will go out to notify applicants of the results. And the last thing you should see is your bonus points updated. After the draw results are posted, if we failed to collect payment for your tag and you were successful, you have 7 days to update your card and get your tag paid for in order to have it for this year, or else it will go to an alternate. And last but not least, there is a 7-day period after the draw results are posted where if you drew a tag that you knew or know you want to return, you can return that tag electronically through your online account during that 1 week period before it's mailed to you. After that 1 week period is when we begin printing and mailing tags. So after Memorial Day weekend, I generally tell folks that tags for successful applicants will arrive before the beginning of July, or by the beginning of July. So you can see here, we're working through our numbers, and we're in that third group where we have our antlered or male species. This is the largest group. We're getting into our sheep applications now. But with that, to help fill up the time and to give the public some information on some exciting stuff going on at INDA, I want to turn it over to some of our guests who are attending remotely. So whoever wants to go first, take it away.
Hi, everybody out there. Scott Roberts. I'm the Eastern Region Supervising Game Biologist based out of Elko. And like Zach spoke to, I'm going to just talk about some of the changes to the Junior Hunter program that happened this year. Junior tags, the program itself started 25 plus years ago. Was created to set aside opportunities for new hunters and make it easy to get those kids out in the field and hopefully get them hooked for life by lowering the barriers to entry and making pretty easy for them to draw tags in those first couple of years. Historically, those hunters, when they drew the tags, they could hunt the entirety of archery season, muzzleloader season, and rifle season. As you can imagine, most hunters would really focus their efforts during rifle season. Just the effectiveness of the weapon group and getting later in the year. And the good fortune of having Nevada Day weekend fall usually at the end of that season made it easier to get kids out into the field. And since the start of that program, the commission has really prioritized trying to have enough tags available to meet the number of junior applicants, not guaranteeing that they were going to draw their first, second, third choice, but saying that if those hunters were willing to drive to Eastern Nevada, that there would be a tag available for them. And many years there were hundreds of tags available through the second draw for those people willing and to make the drive and had the time to get out there. But with the sizable declines in mule deer in the last decade, it's made it impossible to keep pace with the number of new applicants and with the dwindling number of deer tags that we've had. So also to compound those junior cuts, historically the tags were good for female harvest as well as buck harvest. And in recent years, we've gone away from allowing juniors to harvest does in all unit groups as of this year. And this change has dropped tags significantly because some of those unit groups would see, pretty significant doe harvest, which, added to the total number of tags that were available. To offset some of these tag decreases, the department and the commission have developed a new junior season structure, breaking out those primitive weapons, the archery and the muzzleloader, from the rifle tags, and allowing those junior hunters that have the ability, desire, and time to hunt in those earlier seasons, the opportunity to get out there and, potentially and presumably have a lot better chances of drawing those tags because there will be less demand for those tags. And also the idea being having, breaking them out will generate more tags to not increase the number of animals that are actually harvested. Have more people in the field, and especially more people in the field in those earlier seasons where, like I said, historically 90+% of the juniors were waiting to rifle season to put those tags to use. So this year it's being rolled out in our alternative units, those being 014, 065, 081, 114, 115, Area 13, 194, 196, Area 22, and Area 24. And really, we're using these as pilot areas to see, one, what kind of interest we have in those primitive weapons, and two, what kind of success we will be able to have balancing those. There is no guarantee that we'll roll it out to some of the larger unit groups in the future, but if we can generate enough interest in those primitive weapons, I think it's a great opportunity to get more kids out in the field. And this junior change goes hand in hand with the recent change to Commission Policy 24, which went away from our historical demand success process, which allocated tags through the previous year's demand for that weapon class, coupled with the 3-year average of success rates for that weapon class. And this year we've gone to a fixed demand for those primitive weapons, which will, again, it won't translate to more dead animals, but it will translate to potentially more tags in those earlier seasons that historically have run a lower success rate. And with that, I think I will pass the baton.
Thanks, Scott. And it looks like we got through our Nelson Ram applications and going through Black Bear now, still on that third group.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Scott, for the update. So my name is Matt Glenn. I work for the Nevada Department of Wildlife, obviously, and I work within the Habitat Division. And I'll be giving a little update and on what the programs that we kind of run and kind of what the division does. And I'll kind of break it out into the different programs that we kind of administer and all work in, and then give some more specifics and updates in the last year. So one of the spaces that we work in, or programs, is that we implement or work in, is private lands. And in private lands, we do things like restoration and other projects like that, but primarily what we'll focus on today is acquisitions and conservation easements, and we'll talk a little bit about some of those more recent updates. Second, arena that we kind of work in is restoration, and that happens on both private and federal lands, and that's kind of the space that I work in primarily. You might wonder why Endow endeavors to work within that arena, and I think there are some models that would suggest that we've seen a 70% or approximately 70% contraction in crucial or sagebrush habitats in the state over the last 40 years, and so it's a difficult space to work in, but one that's really important for mule deer and sage grouse and a lot of Nevada's wildlife. Another arena or space that we work in is the construction of guzzlers, primarily built and constructed in places where the habitat's there, but they're water limited. And so we have a couple of different programs, both in the south and north, that construct these features out on the landscape. And then we have a technical review program, which is kind of the unsung hero for the division. It's a difficult one to explain, but essentially whenever there's any sort of kind of management action by federal agencies out on the landscape or other proponents, we review those documents and try to come up with good ways to mitigate for impacts to wildlife, and work with our federal partners on that. And then we also work with wildlife management areas, and there are several of these throughout the state. Not a ton of full-time employees there, but really kind of important, and we'll talk a little about those in the private lands component that I will speak on right now. So primarily within the private land space, we do conservation. I mean, not conservation, but restoration on private lands. But we're going to highlight today some more recent activities in the acquisition and conservation easement space. And one of those is the Shell Egan acquisition, where we acquired 5,400 acres in the Shell Creek Mountains and which was absorbed into the Steptoe WMA down by Ely and White Pine County. These lands and acquisitions are generally focused around, not generally, but primarily focused around conservation, and we're protecting these things or these areas as inholdings from future development or conservation for wildlife. Another benefit to those often enough is access for the public and sportsmen. So, I mean, there's a lot of good that's being done there. Shell Egan acquisition is just one of those. I mean, it's several inholdings and, kind of high elevation mountains and mountain range, and you have mountain shrub habitats, aspen, mahogany, mule deer, elk, sage grouse, blue grouse, all using these areas, and the sportsmen of Nevada have access to these after the acquisition, which is a really cool thing. So you have camping opportunities along with hunting and whatever else you'd like to do out there, and they're near Cave Lake State Park. Like I said, the acquisitions like this ensures that properties are managed for wildlife values and protecting against development into future access and recreation are also parts of these. And you should look for an update on this particular acquisition in the hump book next month. Other more recent acquisitions are the Argenta WMA over by Battle Mountain, Pole Canyon Cooperative WMA, Battleborn Pond, 12th Street Pond, Emperado, and Disaster Peak Ranch. These various acquisitions of conservation easements and progress range protecting important habitats and species, allowing for greater public access and recreation. Really cool projects, and I would encourage anybody to kind of look into that and explore WMAs and these acquisitions. The next space that I'm going to talk a little bit about is restoration. That's kind of primarily the space that I work in. During the fall and winter of 2023-24, Endow biologists implemented around 12,800 acres of herbicide treatment, and that's primarily focused on winter annual, so cheatgrass abatement, so we can go in and implement other habitat improvement projects. So 60,000 acres of aerial seeding kind of happens after these pre-emergent treatments or herbicide treatments, and we planted approximately 182,000 seedlings, totaling 73,934 acres of fire rehabilitated treatments across 22 projects. The cost of these projects was quite a bit, around $2 million. In addition to the fire rehab efforts, habitat biologists implemented 7 pinyon juniper removal or thinning projects, a total about 10,000 acres, and really kind of getting at restoring, historic sagebrush landscapes, and that costs about $1.1 million. Lastly, habitat biologists implemented around 334 acres of spring and meadow enhancements with 26,600 linear feet of fence installed at a cost of $676,000 over about 14 different projects. And in between 2017 and 2023, fire rehabs implemented projects over 644,000 acres to a tune of $14 million, and 54,900 acres of pinyon juniper removal for about $5.3 million, and 1,905 acres of spring protections, which is 170,000 linear feet of fence. And yeah, those are exciting projects, all for the benefit of wildlife. The spring protection projects cost about $2.3 million. Next program I'd like to kind of highlight just some more projects that we've kind of implemented here more recently, and that's the Guzzler program. We have a northern and a southern Guzzler crew that go out and construct guzzlers, and like I said, they do this in places where the habitat's there, but they're kind of water limited. And so one project I'd like to highlight is Muddy 7, which was implemented or constructed in Hunt Unit 268, targeting bighorn sheep. This project is a really large one for the state of Nevada, and it had about a 14,820 square foot apron, allowing for 18,400 gallons of water storage, which is kind of aimed at gearing up for years where we don't have the precip to charge these guzzlers and maintaining water in these and keeping that out there for wildlife, so we don't have to go out and do waterfalls like we have in the recent past. These last couple of years, we've been more fortunate we haven't had to do that, but it has been an issue in the past. And so this guzzler design is kind of aimed at keeping us from having to do that and keeping water out on the landscape for those bighorn sheep. Second project is the South Rail project, which took place, or Guzzler was implemented in the St. Springs Range, Hunt Unit 181, also targeting sheep. This is the second youth volunteer bill with Con Ed and Game and Habitat participated, providing youth education learning experience to over 70 kids, which is really awesome. It's great to see the youth out there. And in total, we had about 250 people volunteer, including older kids, which is, it's awesome to see the youth engagement in projects like that. I think it really ties them to the landscape and gives them a vested interest into the future. And it's really awesome to see. Scott spent some time talking about those youth hunts. I think it's really important. Like I said earlier, we have a technical review program. This is another program that's really important, and they are the unsung heroes of habitat. It's a difficult process. It's not always fun. You're getting documents for days on end, months on end, quite frankly, and you're just trying to find solutions to, reduce impacts to wildlife. And that's what we do in that space. And there's been a huge push in energy development and transmission, particularly solar in Nevada, here more recently. And so we've been engaged in all those documents and kind of reviewing those with our federal partners. There's a BLM, a public lands rule that we've been working with, which is another really important space that we're engaged in, reviewing those documents. And then Greater Sage Grouse Approved Resource Management Plan, which I was just reviewing before I jumped on this call, which is basically all things sage grouse and sage grouse conservation, BLM and Nevada Resource Management Plan updates. So and then landfills. All these are just, they don't seem super important and they don't seem super exciting, but they're all very important for wildlife and the state's conservation efforts. So I think that specific division doesn't get a lot of shine, but they are kind of a really important piece of what this division does. So I'm happy to talk about that and happy to kind of highlight their more recent activities and accomplishments. And then lastly, and this isn't the only thing that the Habitat Division kind of works within, or the only program, but these are kind of like the course, kind of the course filter of what we do is. And the last thing I was going to talk about is wildlife management areas throughout the state. We manage approximately 160,000 acres, but to do that, we only have 14 full-time employees. So it seems like a lot of acreage for limited staff, and it is. These employees manage these WMAs and implementing projects and managing these lands for betterment of wildlife, doing seedings, working in ponds and wetland habitat for waterfowl, all sorts of things. And so it's an important program, and I'm sure we're important for conservation for the state. Lastly, I'd just like to thank all the biologists, both game and diversity, and the WMA staff, and all of the game biologists that we work with, and the habitat biologists that we work with, and all of those partners, both in for NGOs and also federal partners, private landowners, whomever the Habitat Division works with, and endeavoring for greater conservation for the state. With that, I'll turn it over to our next speaker, but I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Matt. And just to give an update where we are, we're working through that third group and the largest group onto the California RAM applications, generating numbers for those, and just a few more to go, and we'll get into our next draw groups. So whoever's next.
I think I'm next. I'd like to say good morning to everybody and welcome them here. My name is Chris Crookshanks, and I am the Chief of Fisheries for the state of Nevada for the Department of Wildlife. I'd like to take a few moments to talk about the reason why you're all here tuning in today, and that's fish. Just kidding. I know we're all here because we're all interested in big game and the big game draw process, but I wanted to take a few minutes of your time and talk about fishing and fisheries of Nevada. It's that time of year. Just in the past week or so, weather has gotten really, really warm after a somewhat cold spring. This time of year, when it starts to get warm, most people start to thinking about fishing and boating, and getting out on the water. So just wanted to give everybody a few updates from around Nevada, some changes and some news about fish and fishing in Nevada. The biggest news that we can talk about is probably the most obvious, and that's water. We're coming out of our second consecutive winter with above average precipitation. Which in my world as a fisheries biologist is a really, really good thing. Wintertime snowpack and good precipitation levels make our jobs as fisheries biologists really, really easy, because fish need water, and if you have plenty of water, then life is good. It's interesting to note that the past 2 years two winters that we've had here in Nevada have been the highest back-to-back years for precipitation since 1982 and 1983. What that translates into is habitat availability for fish. Lakes, reservoirs are plumb full and spilling right now. After so many years of drought period, when lakes and reservoirs and streams and rivers get contracted, it's really really cool to see everything full. Lakes and rivers, and yeah, if you're a fish right now in Nevada, life is good. So this time of year, spring, all of our hatchery folks, we maintain 3 hatchery and rearing facilities in Nevada that raise primarily trout for recreational purposes in Nevada. Those guys right now are burning up the pavement, and they're busy with our spring stocking schedule throughout the state. We raise fish in these hatcheries, predominantly rainbow trout, but also cutthroat trout, brown trout, brook trout, and some hybrids like cutbows and tiger trout. It takes about a year in our hatcheries from a trout to be raised from an egg up to an adult size. We generally stock most of our fish at an adult or catchable size. So most of the fish that we're stocking right now are about a year old. And springtime, we raise these fish throughout the year, and springtime, like I said, our hatchery guys, thanks to all of them, are busy stocking waters throughout the state, and they've been busy doing that for about a month now, and they'll be continuing the spring stocking schedule, which will continue throughout the summertime. So with that being said, I wanted to touch first on some changes. Our fishing regulations, and if you don't have regulations books that came out in January, our fishing regulations run on a calendar year. I just wanted to talk briefly about a few changes this year that we implemented, which is actually some pretty significant changes that haven't been seen in Nevada before. The first big change this year in Nevada that began on January 1 is a possession limit for fish. Historically in Nevada, the fish that you caught, there was no difference between a daily possession, a daily or a possession limit for fish in Nevada. If the limit was fish, you could catch 5 fish from that individual water in one day, and that was your possession limit. But similar to, say, Upland game like Chuckers, we instituted a possession limit on fish for the first time in the history of Nevada. So, statewide, your possession limit is now double your daily limit for each individual water that you fish. So, say you go to a particular fishery that has a limit of 5 fish. You can catch 5 fish per day. That's your daily limit, but you can also now have 10 fish in possession. This is really beneficial for some of those remote waters that people fish, and they want to go to say Onion Valley Reservoir for the weekend. They're now not limited to catching 5 fish on the first day and being done fishing for the entire weekend. So that's the biggest change that we saw in Nevada for this year. We also made a pretty substantial effort to simplify regulations and limits throughout the state. There was a lot of confusion, and it was difficult for anglers to know what limits were or what seasons were on different waters throughout the state. So we made a pretty concerted effort to try and simplify a lot of those. Similar to a couple years ago, we eliminated the season at Topaz. Historically, there was a season there, and then it opened on January 1. Again, there was no biological reason for that, and in different additional waters this year, we eliminated the season. One of the most significant ones is at Knott Creek Reservoir in Humboldt County, in northern Humboldt County. Historically, there was a season there that opened in mid-June and closed in early fall. We eliminated the season, so Knott Creek Reservoir is now open year-round, so you can fish it year-round. It'll be preventative in the wintertime when there's some snows and you won't be able to get there, but sort of an exciting opportunity for folks that want to cast and blast in the fall, where you can go up there and shoot some chuckers in the morning or the afternoon and spend the mid part of the day out at Knott Creek Reservoir at a float tube catching some giant trout there. So elimination of a lot of seasons, and like I said, the big one was the institution of a possession limit. Next, I wanted to remind folks, like we do every year, second Saturday in June, every year is free fishing day, where you can fish any open water in Nevada without a license. Folks here at the Department of Wildlife are generally really busy that weekend. We provide opportunities for free fishing day events all over the state, in all of our regions, down south in Clark County, Elko County, here in Washoe County. The big one here locally is the Sparks Marina Kids fishing event, but we've got events throughout the state. So take a look at our website at ndow.org for free fishing day activities, and we've got them, like I said, all over the state. I talked a little bit already about stocking, and our hatchery guys and girls are super busy right now in the realm of stocking. We also stock warm water fish, and we're in the middle of stocking approximately 23,000 warm water fish right now. Those include channel catfish, wipers, and largemouth bass. Like I said earlier, we stock trout from our state-owned facilities here. We don't have the capability of stocking warm water fish like catfish, wipers, and largemouth bass. We get those from vendors from out of state. We stock trout in most of our waters because they're unable to reproduce on their own. That's why we stock them on an annual basis. But we'll buy fish from outside vendors, warm water fish, to plant in mostly in our reservoirs, like largemouth bass and channel catfish. And we only stock those fish periodically because once you put them into a reservoir, they're able to reproduce on their own from that point forward. So I wanted to mention some warm water stocking as well. Also some new opportunities. The department has been very proactive in trying to excuse me, provide some additional fishing opportunities to get people fishing, to introduce people to fishing. And where is that opportunity the greatest? It's in our urban areas. Nevada is extremely urbanized. So we got a very active program in providing urban fisheries. We've got urban fisheries throughout the state in some of our metropolitan areas. All throughout Las Vegas and Henderson and Boulder City, we've got urban ponds, and here in Reno, we've got a number of urban ponds. But we want to provide additional opportunities. I'm happy to say our latest urban pond is up in Sparks, specifically in Spanish Springs, and that's Battleborn Pond on the Lennar property that the department took ownership of last year. We have big plans for future stocking on Battleborn Pond, but it's currently open for fishing. We're exploring opportunities throughout other places in the state for additional urban ponds. We're working really hard, and we hope to announce the opening of an urban pond in Elko here really soon. There's not currently an urban pond in Elko, and we've got one slated there, and we're really excited about that one. So stay tuned for that one. We're also working on opportunities in other places like Fernley, hoping to get an urban pond there. Additional items I wanted to talk about real quick. I usually can't do any presentation anywhere without mentioning our Native Slam. Very quickly, the Nevada Native Slam program is a challenge for folks to catch all 6 species of native trout in Nevada. Those species are Bonneville cutthroat trout, bull trout, Lahontan cutthroat trout, mountain whitefish, red band trout, and Yellowstone cutthroat trout. It's free for entry, and in your fishing regs book on the second to last page, there's an entry form. You can also find those on our website. But it's just a challenge to get folks out to experience some of the back roads of Nevada. These fish are found in extremely remote places, and it takes some effort, not necessarily catching the fish, but the effort is getting to the places where the fish live. It's going to take you, like I said, to some of the wildest parts of our state. Once you complete the Native Slam, which is you catch and you record and you take a picture of the 6 native species of trout in Nevada, we give you a certificate for recognition, as well as a hat, and we're working on some other swag gear too. So I wanted to urge folks to participate in the native trout slam in Nevada. It really, like I said, it takes you to some some extremely remote places of the state that are most people just don't get to experience. Some media opportunities I wanted to highlight real quick, and if you go to the department's social media page, you can find more about these. But the first one is a segment that Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom just completed. If you're old like me, you probably remember as a kid on Sunday afternoons watching Mutual of Omaha on television with Marlon Perkins. Well, the Mutual of Omaha, the Wild Kingdom program, has just been revived. They just did a segment on Devil's Hole, which is in Death Valley in Nevada, way down south. The segment is on the plight of the Devil's Hole pupfish down there, which is the most endangered fish species on planet Earth. A few years ago, numbers of the species got down to 35. But they did a fantastic segment on Devil's Hole. Another media opportunity I wanted to mention too was Outdoor Nevada. Those folks do a phenomenal job in highlighting some of the outdoor recreation opportunities in Nevada. They recently did a segment on Wall Canyon Reservoir in northern Washoe County and our Kirch Wildlife Management Area over in south central Nevada. So I'd urge you to take a look at our social media pages and our website for the Wild Kingdom, as well as the Outdoor Nevada segments. And with that, the last thing I wanted to highlight on really quickly was career opportunities in Nevada, or job opportunities. And one thing I wanted to mention was our summertime seasonal program, which our crew of summertime seasonals, most of them will be starting this upcoming Monday. Generally work for a roughly 3-month period in the summertime, but we're always looking for summertime seasonals. These job opportunities are for recent graduates, recent high school graduates, or those in college, and for folks that are seeking a degree in wildlife management or biology or ecology or conservation or one of those related fields. We offer job opportunities in the fisheries division, in the game division, and the habitat division. A number of different opportunities throughout our divisions and throughout the state, whether it's helping build guzzlers or doing Lahontan and cutthroat trout stream surveys or helping build or remove fence. We offer a ton of seasonal job opportunities. And you look around at our agency and specifically I'm looking on our screen right now. A lot of folks that work for this agency started out as summertime seasonals. I did, as well as a huge number of folks. So it's a way to get your foot in the door. It's a phenomenal learning experience to work outdoors all day, every day, and get paid for it. So with that, I'm going to wrap up our fisheries update. I'm thankful for the opportunity to talk about it. And with that, I'd like to wish everybody best of luck in the draw. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And just to give an update with where we are at, we're chugging right along. We are through the majority of our antlered or male species groups. We're now on to that group that comes after that, which includes depredation bull and your management ram hunts. So we're through the biggest part of the draw right now in terms of entry generation. Once we get through that one, again, we'll go on to the antlerless or female species, then our spike elk, and then depredation cow elk tags. And then we'll have that bit of a pause on the screen while we are ordering our applications and generating results.
Alrighty. Thanks, Zach. It's nice to see you again. And my name is Martin Olson. I'm in Southern Nevada. I'm with the Conservation Education Division. So I do the hunter education, shooting sports, and archery education, all of Southern Nevada. There's 3 of us around the state. And I gotta say, Scott and Matt and Chris, those are all excellent programs and things you guys got going on for the state of Nevada. And it's great to see everyone enthused and working in that direction for everyone in the state of Nevada. And Chris, I got to tell you, I used to watch Mutual of Omaha as well when I was a kid, and I still remember a quote from Merlin Perkins. I mean, this is probably over 50 years ago, but he used to say, "I'll stay back at a safe distance while Jim wrestles the alligator eggs out of the alligator nest." And I remember that from early on. So that's great to hear all that. We talked a little bit about this, and what I would like to really talk a little bit about is in the realm of getting the youth out into our activities as far as hunting and fishing. And back in 23, we came up with a program, the Nevada Youth License Fund. And I know we spoke a little bit about, I know most people are on here watching because of fishing. But we do know that most of the people here are on because they did apply for a big game tag in Nevada. And as you filled out your application and you reached the end of it, you saw a couple opportunities that individuals had to donate to the Nevada Youth License Fund and a resource enhancement stamp. And I hope you guys remember those when you got to them, because yes, it is a free youth license, but it's really not free. Because you're donating and you are purchasing one of those licenses for a youth in Nevada. And last year when we implemented this, we issued almost 5,000 licenses free to youth in Nevada. And the license is free for resident and non-residents coming to Nevada. And that's all because of the sportsmen and sportswomen donating to that fund. And we really appreciate that. It's fantastic to get our youth going out into the field, whether you're fishing or hunting. And the fishing aspect of it is a super opportunity leading into hunting and getting you out into the field. Because I get so many questions on a yearly basis. Where should I go? What should I do? Well, if you get some fishing license and there's free youth fund, go out and scout Nevada. There's all types of fishing from southern Nevada all the way to northern Nevada, different types of fish, different types of opportunity. You take your youth out. It's a real positive for individuals because you get to mentor them. You get to show them how to fish. You get to teach them how to fish. You also get the opportunity of finding other spots in Nevada, finding areas that you might want to put in to go hunting for, and take that youth out with you even when you go hunting. And one thing that's great about the Youth License Fund, it is a combination license, hunting and fishing. And so it's instantly valid for 1 year for fishing. And your hunting opportunity can come only if you finish your hunter education course here in Nevada. And we have plenty of classes year round and all over the state. In some of the smaller communities, the bigger communities, there's always an opportunity for you to get in there and take your hunter education and make that license active in not only fishing, but hunting. So those are some great opportunities that individuals have for this upcoming year to get a chance to visit around Nevada, do some fishing, and even do some hunting when upland game season comes. Basically, last year, 2 out of 3 kids getting a license through this program were new. to fishing and or hunting. So that's a real positive for our goal. Looking ahead is bringing some of our youth into this activity, getting to show them different ways to fish, different ways to go hunting, different things to hunt and fish in Nevada. Basically, the program helped us move from a shrinking number of youth license that was issued to a significant growth, partially because it is a free license for those youth. And whether we know it or not, kids do want to get out and go hunting and fishing. Now, not all kids will want to do that. That's never been the case. But as you can see with this program, issuing a 65% or an increase of 5,000 free youth licenses really opens the opportunity for getting those youth outside. And it's, it depends on where you are in the state. Down in the Las Vegas area in the summertime can be pretty challenging when you're outside, unless you're up there super early. So take a chance and head north if you're down south. In the wintertime, if you get tired of the ice fishing and stuff up around the northern part of the state, you can always head down to the Colorado River and or Lake Mead and some of those local ponds that you've got inside the city. So those are some real great opportunities that we got for the youth. And a couple questions that I get on that a lot is, with this youth license, do I need to create an account to get this? And the answer is yes, you do. You'll go to nevada.licensing.app and create yourself an account, because any recreational license, hunting, fishing, you do need to have to use your social security number because it is a recreational license. So create your account, and then you can actually purchase that license right online. And the license itself is a combination. So whenever you get to the end, it's going to zero out. And let me explain that right now, because originally it's going to show you that it costs $15. And then when the program is open and on, when you get to close out, it's going to zero that out. Now, currently, right now, the program is off just prior to our big game draw because we were down significantly. We didn't have a lot of monies in this account to actually cover those licenses. So it was turned off for the big game draw. And we've actually gained quite a bit of monies back in there through the individual sportsmen and sportswomen donating to that fund. And again, that's fantastic, and we love to see that. And it's always enjoyable to see the other sportsmen willing to donate to take a youth out into the field. But the most important thing is once we build up enough money in there, this program's going to come back on. And remember, this license is good for a year. It's a fishing hunting combo. And when it does come back on, and you do go through your nevada.licensing.app, it will zero out at the end. And that license is good for a whole year. So that will give you the opportunity to take your hunter education and activate your hunting license on that. So that's really important to know when you do that. Now, if you already have a license and your license expires, keep your eye open. We're really looking to bring new and youth into this program that need, the opportunity to get that free license. So keep your eye open for that, and tell your friends, let's go fishing in Nevada. And then you can also, of course, sign up, take your hunter education, and get that hunting license activated that is free for you, that someone else has donated to you. Remember, if you're going to do the hunter education, you will need to complete a workbook and or the online class at register-ed.com. Either one of those will suffice, and you will need to bring proof of that being completed to one of the classes if you're 17 years of age and younger. We do let anyone into those hunter education courses of any age, as long as you have that workbook and or online completion certificate already done. The most important thing is how is this funded? Yes, it's funded by Nevada sportsmen and women, and they're donating into this. And it's a very slow process because your minimum donation is only $15, but you can donate more. And what we would really love to see is some of the non-government organizations step up and donate some bigger monies into this. Because right now we have enough in the fund for about 2,300 youth licenses. And we're hoping to get quite a bit more in there before we turn this program or open this program back up, solely because the 2,300 is probably 30 to 40 days of just being open before it runs out of funding again. So we would love to see some non-government organizations step up and donate some into this. And that's going to be one of the big contributors to the success in this program. And that I know of, I don't believe any other states offer a free youth license. But don't hold me to that because I don't know every state's license policies. But that I know of right now, I don't know of any other state that gives the youth, not only in their state but non-residents, an opportunity to get themselves a free license. So it's only sensible to take advantage of this and get somebody out there into the field. Kind of what qualifications do you need to get this license? Well, you just got to be between 12 and 17. That's it. And create yourself a profile on nevada.licensing.app, and then you can go in and purchase that license, or you can come to one of our offices or any vendor that's actually selling them. Again, once the program is open, and right now I don't really know when that's going to reopen. Only when we get enough funds in there to hopefully carry us through to the big game draw again for next year. So that's some of the things I wanted to talk about the youth fund and hunting in Nevada and getting out and enjoying our great state. We've got some fabulous people here joining us today, and all of their programs are doing fantastic for the state of Nevada. And I applaud you greatly for your continuing efforts to make Nevada such a great state in hunting and fishing, conservation, wildlife viewing, all of those. And Nevada Department of Wildlife hopefully continues to grow and gives more opportunities to people in Nevada and people outside of Nevada coming here wanting to enjoy our state. So with that, I'll jump back to you, Zach, and see where we're sitting here on some of our process.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. So we are at the point now where you're going to see the pause on the screen as all of the entries or random numbers for every application has been generated, and we're now in the process of ordering all of those applications from lowest random number to the highest random number in each of the draw orders, if you will. For anybody who missed the beginning of it, I'll just give a quick little recap over what we I talked about at the very beginning. So this is the 2024 big game tag draw. 2024 was a record application year in Nevada. So this year, 474,534 applications were submitted. That is about a 9.8% increase from 2023. Those applications were submitted by a record number of applicants. In total, 85,630, about 300 more than the year prior. This year, the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners did update the draw order, the order in which your applications are evaluated. Previously, in a single group, you would have Silver State, Partnership in Wildlife, and your junior mule deer applications. Then we would evaluate the antlered or male species applications. Then we would evaluate the antlerless or female species applications. And last but not least, spike elk and the management ram applications. This year, that is now broken up into 8 groups, with Silver State being its own group, followed by PIW or Partnership in Wildlife, then junior mule deer, then most of your antlered species, followed by a 5th group with your depredation bull applications and your management ram applications. Following that, at the 6th group is the antlerless or female species applications. 7th standalone being the spike elk applications, and final and 8th being the depredation antlerless applications. So this whole process really follows 2 steps. The first of which is what I call entry generation. So the numbers that you're seeing on the screen here are not the number of applications for each species, but the number of random draw numbers that are generated for each application. So we take the bonus point balance of each application, we square that number and add 1 to it. And that is how many draw numbers your application gets. So let's say, for example, you have 2 bonus points. 2 times 2 or 2 squared is 4, plus 1 is 5. You will go into the draw with 5 random numbers, the lowest of which is your draw number. So right now, what the draw is doing is we've generated all of these numbers for each application. It is going through now and picking the lowest number for every application and then ordering them within all of the groups. For anybody who joined us late, they may not have heard me earlier, but we will not be reading draw results on this live stream. We get that every year. There is no way that I could possibly read out 470,000+ application results on a draw stream. So results will be posted no later than the close of business on Friday, May 17th. When results are posted, you'll first see the results in your account, quickly followed by a credit card charge if you were successful. Then emails will go out. And last but not least, you'll see your bonus point balance updated. After the draw is posted, there is a 1-week period where if we were not able to successfully collect payment for your tag, then you have 1 week to update your payment information on your profile and purchase your tag. There is also a 1-week period where if you draw a tag that you know you will be returning, you don't want to wait until it arrives in the mail, you can return that tag electronically on your online account. The other question I get a lot is, do I need to have a license to obtain a bonus point? And that is correct. So you must have a valid Nevada hunting or combination license on file in order to get a bonus point for any application that is unsuccessful. You have to have a hunting or combination license that is good at the time that you apply, at the time that the draw is run, through any possible hunt season that you could draw, and one that you did not earn a point on in the previous year. So I get that question a lot. Just wanted to throw that out there as well. After results have been generated, that generally goes pretty quick once we get everything ordered and queued up. We will have the system produce several reports. Those reports contain the draw results, and those will follow a chain of custody process to the respective owners of that data. There will be 4 in total. Those 4 include, you heard from Craig Burkett earlier, the Attorney General's office, Gordon Darby, a copy for ourselves as the contractor, a copy for Endow, and a copy for an auditor. So that will be the last part of it. It's a bit boring of a process. That part takes just a little bit, just because some of the files are so large. One of the files is every draw number that was generated. Last year, over 10 million draw numbers were generated. I expect that to increase this year. After this, there may be just a bit of a lull or silence while we're waiting for some of those files to download. I'll put those onto the thumb drives and we'll go from there. So it looks like we're still ordering everything up, and we should be moving into results here very shortly. I did want to give the opportunity if any of our, oh, look at this, here we go. We got results coming now. Ticking up about 1,000 or so every little bit, and this will tick up to the number of tag applications. So note, a bonus point application doesn't necessarily get a successful or unsuccessful result. So this is where, if anybody watching, put in for the draw, I'd imagine a lot of you did. This is where we're determining whether your application was successful or unsuccessful based on the draw order. This should probably take about 10 minutes. And for those who are interested in more detailed information, a full detail of the draw results report will be provided to the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners at their August meeting. While this is going, this will probably take 5 or 10 minutes. To any of our Endow guests that are joining remotely have anything they want to add about their respective activities and programs? I know that once all of the results are generated, we'll have about 30 more minutes to pull all of the reports and put them onto the thumb drives. But so maybe we'd fill the time there. But if there's anything else that anybody would want to add right now, feel free.
Okay, Zach, I've got a couple things I can bring up with getting folks again back out into the field and fishing and hunting. And we mentioned earlier with the youth license that we have separated some of that youth into a primitive hunt. And so with that being done for this year, Endow is offering some primitive hunt classes for youths who get the opportunity to go out and practice with their bow or their muzzleloader, and they can do it in a 3D range. I know the Reno and Elko areas had classes for that, as well as Las Vegas areas. And it was a great show. We had a few people in the first class, and we have another class this Saturday. So there's still some opportunity if you draw one of those youth primitive weapon classes and you'd like the opportunity to practice with your bow some and judge your distances and things like that. You certainly can. And so I just want to throw that back out there. I don't know if anybody else has anything they'd like to say. No, otherwise I can keep going because yes, I could talk and talk and talk. So if you got something to say, go ahead and cut me off. On top of those classes that we do offer and stuff, we're really doing a lot in the shooting sports area, as well as we have rifle, shotgun, muzzleloader classes. These are for beginners who's never shot a muzzleloader. You get the opportunity to load and shoot percussion cap, and inline, and even a flintlock we have. And we also have intro to archery classes, which we are using the Genesis bows for those. The primitive hunt, on the other hand, you need to bring your own bow and arrow because, when you're bow hunting, that bow needs to be set for you. It's not a kind of a catch-all thing. And those bows have got to meet the minimum requirements that Nevada requires by law to use as a hunting bow. So those are a bunch of opportunities there. We're always looking for volunteers to help teach some of these classes. They can be pretty full at times, and we do have to limit them because of when you're shooting muzzleloaders and things like that. It's kind of a time-consuming activity. And so if you're interested in volunteering, we have volunteer coordinators in all three regions, in the Reno area and Elko, as well as Las Vegas. So reach out to our office in those areas and let them know you're interested in volunteering for helping instruct some of these classes, especially the hunter education. There's a lot of fishing classes that we have that is very similar, intro to fishing, and we have fly fishing. We have fishing from a kayak. So it really just depends on where you are. Not so much down here, but in the northern part of the state, we will do some ice fishing. I can't remember the last time Lake Mead froze over. Oh, wait, I don't think it ever has. But I do head north sometimes on some of those colder winter days when the ice is still on for some of that. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And if you're interested in doing any of that, please let one of our volunteer coordinators know in the region that you're at to come help teach some people and mentor some people to get out hunting and fishing. And with that, I don't know if anybody has anything you want to add to that.
I don't have anything to add to that, Martin, but I was just going to give an update. It looks like we're just about 2/3 of the way through the results to close everything out. I'd say about 5 more minutes, and then we'll get into the the file generation. And I'll just repeat for anybody who joined in late. I think the biggest thing we get is, will I see my results as a part of this stream? And the answer is no. We won't be able to read off everybody's draw results as a part of this stream, but results will be posted no later than the close of business on Friday, May 17th. So I'd like to reiterate that for folks. People get excited when they see results being generated. So we're chugging right along and shouldn't have too much longer till we're done with that.
That is great, Zach. I can tell you one of the easiest ones to follow, I think, there is the moose, because of the number of the first time for this year. So it's pretty simple to look at the number of application numbers for that antlered moose on that one.
Yeah. One thing I did want to point out that I failed to mention is that any leftover tags from the draw, if there are tags that not enough people applied for or don't get allocated as a part of the draw, there will be a second draw starting in the first week of June. And one thing for folks to know, that if you happen to miss the deadline, life happens, to apply in the main draw, you can purchase bonus points for any big game species that you are eligible for during the second draw period as well. So the second draw isn't just a leftover tag draw. It's also an opportunity, kind of a second chance or last chance for the year. If you missed an application, you cannot double dip and get a second point for the year from the second draw, bonus point only application, but that is available as well in the second draw.
But
So
there are
that's 8 left over.
That's also true, Zach. If you applied in the first draw, but now suddenly decide, hey, I decided now I didn't apply for bighorn sheep, but now I want to get a bonus point, so I can go back in there and get that bonus point if you changed your mind and decide now that's the way to go. And you can see by some of the application numbers, building your bonus points is the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So as long as you didn't earn a point in the main draw, you do have the opportunity for a point in the second draw. The past 7 years that we have done this, we have always had a handful of tags left over. I'll be interested to see how this one shakes out here. I'd expect we'd get up close to around 100,000 more results being generated. So we're right on schedule and moving right along.
Yeah, Zach, feel free to interrupt at any point if you need to. I was just going to take the opportunity to give Upland game forecast for the coming year. You know, coming out of 2 wet years, in general, Upland game hunting should be pretty awesome this year. We're wrapping up our sage grouse lek counts for the year, and in general, we've seen a really significant rebound from the lows of the last couple of years coming out of, you know, that major drought cycle. So pretty exciting. We've seen numerous all-time record counts on some of these leks that we count annually. So in that realm, things are looking pretty good. Chucker and Huns, the hunting last year was pretty awesome across northern Nevada, and with the, you know, pretty exceptional precip year as coupled with the mild weather that we had all winter long, barring any major, you know, late winter storm or major hail event that would negatively impact nesting and or brood rearing in the coming month. The hunting for chuckers and huns should be pretty awesome. Moving on to snowcock hunting, will be what it always is, a whole lot of collective effort to harvest anywhere from 5 to 15 birds. Long-term average is right around 8 birds a year, and that's with anywhere from 50 to 200 people out there chasing them. So anybody who's up for dealing with the rubies and the difficult weather and difficult circumstances, always a pretty awesome challenge. Grouse species, you know, rough grouse, dusky grouse, and city grouse are going to be more variable and more localized in how their populations are doing. But after the 2 above average winters, range conditions should be pretty awesome, you know, across most of northern Nevada, and should be pretty conducive to pulling off some pretty big broods. So should be good hunting depending on where you're at, what local conditions are, but should be a pretty exciting time to be out in the forest. And then California quail, we've been seeing pretty exciting expansion of the species through a lot of Humboldt County, Elko County in recent years. Oh,
Hey, Scott,
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt you. I'd love for you to continue after you're done with that. But the draw is done and has concluded. So I'm going to go ahead and start generating some of these reports just for the sake of time. But as you can see here, we got some summary numbers here that may be of interest to everybody who is looking at these. So it looks like we will have a second draw this year. I'm no mathematician, but we had 18,992 tags available. 18,967 tags were drawn. So there will be 25 tags available in the second draw. What those are remains to be seen a bit. But we will be having a second draw and getting that list posted as quickly as possible after results are posted. It looks like 31,748 party applications were submitted for a tag, and 322,221 individual applications were submitted for a tag. Now stack that with bonus point applications, or if anybody withdrew their application to reapply, total number of applications is 474,534. What's really interesting is you'll see there were 12.2 million random number entries generated for the draw this year. So that is a big increase. I think it was over 10 million last year, but not close to 11 million. So almost 2 million more draw numbers generated this year. The lowest random number, so the best number you could have had in this draw is 21. The highest number, so the worst draw number you could have had is 99,999,994. The average random number, we see that, kind of as expected, just a hair above 50 million. So we're going to need to give these reports just a few minutes to download. I'm probably going to stop sharing my screen at this point and be sharing just my desktop as we go through those reports. So I'll be getting that pulled up here shortly. But Scott, yeah, please continue your point though. I'd hate to interrupt you. Just exciting that we're done here and that's over.
Yeah, no problem. Hopefully I got to put my 27 years of bonus points in California Bighorns to use just now. So, yeah, I was speaking to California quail and just talking about the pretty exciting expansion and population increases we've been seeing around a lot of northern Nevada, Humboldt County, and some portions of Elko County. And so we should see decent hunting there. And then as a side note, I wanted to bring up, we were able to do a small local trapping effort where we were able to catch 75 urban birds in Elko County and then move them within the county. And some of our Western region biologists, specifically Quint Garrett and Jason Salisbury, were able to catch hundreds of birds in and around Reno, Virginia City, Allen, and the Eastern region was the lucky recipient of about 200 of those birds. And so we're actively moving birds around the state, trying to expand those opportunities and backfilling, some suitable habitat. And so hopefully we'll see some, exciting benefits of those efforts in coming years. And then I guess I will mention Gamble quail, but though there's no Gamble quail within a couple hundred miles of me, so I have very limited information on those, but one could assume with the above average precip in the last 2 years and pretty awesome range conditions in a lot of southern Nevada, we'll see the benefits of those also. And with that, I think I would pass it on to anybody else.
Hey, I'll just add something else there. I kind of failed and forgot to mention with volunteering, for teaching hunter education and shooting sports and archery and all that. We have a lot of other volunteer activities going on, guzzler builds and all kinds of opportunities if you're anyone out there is interested in any of that. And again, you would just contact your regional volunteer coordinator and tell them you're interested in doing that, and then they'll set you up from there. So I just wanted to put that back out there. So there's lots of volunteer opportunities all around the state and in all different kind of fields in the state.
Very cool. I'm gonna go ahead and share my whole screen just while we're waiting on some of these other files. So all of the files are posted to an FTP server. This is where we keep all of our draw results. Oops. And we are just waiting for a few more to come through. So right now we have our reports of our alternates, our excluded applications, so the withdrawn or refunded applications, the lowest random number assigned to each application, the tags that are remaining from the draw, and the actual results. So the successfuls and unsuccessfuls. That assigned numbers file is 900 megabytes. So that will take just a little bit of time to get that going and over there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start pulling some of these down to my desktop just so we can be prepared to load them all onto the thumb drives. So let's go ahead and just pull these one by one, get these onto my desktop. Our alternates report. There's our excluded applications report. Let's go ahead and do remaining tags. So you got the 3 there. Let's go ahead and take our results. Right, let's give this a refresh, see if our assigned file's there yet. That one always takes the longest. We're always waiting on the report of all of the numbers. And then here is the report of everybody's lowest number, the draw numbers. And it very well could take another 15, perhaps 20 minutes until all of that assigned file is complete. Now, again, if you haven't watched this before, part of what happens at this point in the process is we follow a chain of custody process for the validation of the draw results. What we have here, I've got 4 unopened thumb drives and 4 envelopes. The draw results will be loaded individually onto each one of these thumb drives and placed into each individual envelope and sealed. 1 copy goes with us, the contractor, for our records. 1 copy goes to the Nevada Department of Wildlife for their records. And 1 copy will go to Dag Burkett for his records, and 1 copy to an auditor. And once all of that is complete, draw results will be posted no later than close of business on Friday, May 17th. And you can see here that's still taking a little bit of time to get going on that assigned numbers file. So we'll sit here and we'll wait for that. If any of our other Endow guests have something that's itching that they want to share, Martin, I can't tell you whether or not you drew that moose tag, so quit asking. And that's about all I've got until we get this file generated, and then we'll get them on the thumb drives, and this will conclude.
I could burn a couple minutes just speaking to the sharp-tailed grouse translocation that we completed last month, working with partners and Idaho Fish and Game. We were allowed to go up for trap sharp-tailed grouse around Idaho Falls and translocate 20 hens those hens came to Bull Run Basin to supplement birds that we had brought in between 2013 and 2017. And those birds had been doing fairly well, holding their own over that interim time frame, and even on top of having a major wildfire burn through the basin in 2018, disrupting a lot of the available habitat. Those birds have been doing pretty well. This year's effort was to supplement that and try to get them over the hump and hopefully get them established for the long term. Sharp-tailed grouse are a native species that was extirpated somewhere around the 1930s from the state. And so this is reestablishing a native species with the hopes of tying in our population to established populations in Idaho, in southern Idaho. And so we have a tentative commitment from Idaho to receive birds in coming years. And so hopefully we're going to be filling in that gap between our populations and known populations that are almost a stone's throw away in Idaho. So really exciting opportunity to reestablish a native species. We don't get that very often, and hopefully kind of righting some of the wrongs of the past. So, yeah. Chris, I know you have plenty to talk about.
I always got lots to talk about, Scott, but I think I covered all the fisheries issues that were sort of on the agenda. I don't want to bogart too much time in the big game draw.
You would think by now I would know to unmute myself when I want to talk. So let me share this. We're still waiting on that assigned file. It's in the oven, it's cooking. But again, it's such a large file. It just takes a long time to generate. If anybody's watched in prior years, we've kind of sat here just waiting for that. But maybe this would be a good time to kind of just go over a couple of other things that I did in the middle of the stream and at the beginning of the stream. So the 2024 big game tag draw was a record year for the state of Nevada. In total, 474,534 applications were submitted, and that is a 9.8% increase in the number of applications being submitted from last year. Those applications were submitted by a record number of applicants, 85,630, just a little over 300 more people applied for tags this year than last year. And results, again, just to reiterate, draw results will be posted to your account no later than close of business on Friday, May 17th. After the draws run, there is a 1 week period where if you we failed to collect payment for your tag, you can go into your account and update your credit card to pay for your tag. And after that 1 week period is over is when tags will begin starting to get printed and mailed. We often get a lot of questions on when will my tag arrive in the mail. So a week after draw results is when we can just begin printing and mailing tags. That takes about a week and a half from there. So I would expect that by the end of June, first week of July, anybody who drew a tag would have their tags in hand. So let's take a look here. Should be really close on this assigned file. It's been going for about 15 minutes now. But probably the boring part of this, you get to see me open some thumb drives. We get to sit here and wait on a report. It's just a large file, over 900 megabytes. So kind of just playing the waiting game for that so that we can just close out the process and conclude it for this year. think what I'll do for the sake of time, since you guys can all see me right now, is I'll go ahead and open the first thumb drive and get that connected. So again, these are unopened thumb drives. There's no data on them, just the reports that we have from the draw. So I'll be doing this 4 times. You'd think I'd gotten better at these over the past 7 years, but they still don't make these things too easy to open. So here is the first thumb drive fresh out of the box. I'll go ahead and just connect that in anticipation, so that first one will go quick. And then once we get that other file, we'll be rocking and rolling. And I think we'll give Dag Burkett the honors. The first the first envelope will go to the DAG. So to save some time, I can go ahead and start writing on the envelopes. Today's date is the 15th. So 15th. Second envelope, we'll go ahead and do that for Endow. Today's date is the 15th. So there's Endow's envelope. We'll be putting a thumb drive in. The third one, we'll do that one for the auditor. And last but not least, we'll do one for Gordon Darby, the contractor. All right, let's take a peek here. Okay, we've got the assigned file pulled in. I'll share this really quick with everybody. So the assigned file is pulled in, but you're going to see that file size is going to increase every time I refresh this because all of the data in the file is being generated. So that's going to tick up to around 900 megabytes, and then we'll be able to pull that down and start going. The first thumb drive is in my computer that you guys saw me open. That is for Dag Burkett's copy. I do just want to show. Thumb drive is empty and there is nothing on it. And we'll do that for each one of these. So I'd say just another 10 minutes and then we'll be out of here. And if you're still sticking around to watch this, good for you. That's some dedication.
Well, some people like to watch right to the end, Zach. Right to the bitter end.
Guess how enjoyable it is depends on your draw results. All right, just about a little more on this at 218. That'll go up to 909 before we're done with that. And I apologize for the long wait. It's a file with 12.2 million numbers in it for everybody's draw number, but that is a necessary part of the draw results to capture. And if anybody's joined us late, just one more time, we'll go over it. The 2024 tag draw is complete. We are just waiting on some reports that will be delivered and undergo a chain of custody process for the draw to be validated and verified. The 2024 Nevada Big Game Tag Draw was a record year. 474,534 applications were submitted this year, and that is a 9.8% increase over the number of applications in 2023. Those applications were submitted by a record number of customers, 85,630, which is about 300 more people applying for tags this year than last year. Everybody wants to know when they're going to get their draw results. You will get your draw results prior to the close of business on Friday, May 17th. On or before that time.
Yeah, hey Zach, I'll mention here too, after the second draw and no alternates for any tag that is returned. We can remember the first come, first serve application there at nevada.licensings.app as well. If people keep an eye on that for any tags that pop up available with no first choice alternate that would come up after the second draw, of course.
Yep. And if you forgot to apply in the first draw and you want to get a bonus point for this year, in addition to the 25 remaining tags that we have here, you will have the opportunity to apply for a bonus point for all available species which you are eligible for in the second draw. Provided that you do not earn a point in the main draw. I say 25 in the second draw, but it is possible there could be more than 25 tags in the second draw. Let me explain. So during the 1 week period, tags can be returned electronically. And if there are any tags that are returned with no alternate, there's always a handful, those will be added to the final second draw list. So usually the department will publish a remaining tags list and then an updated remaining tags list, which would include any additional tags that would be available in the second draw. But as of right now, it does look like 25 tags will be available in that second drawing. Let's see where we're at. Over halfway, 474.2. That's going to get up to about 909. Again, talking about bonus points, want folks to remember that in order to earn a bonus point for an unsuccessful application, you must have a valid hunting or combination license that is valid at the time that you apply, valid through the date of the draw, valid through the hunt seasons that you are applying for, and you can't have owned or earned a point on that license prior. So highly encourage you to get your license so that you can get a point for your unsuccessful application. We do still offer the purchase a license only if successful as well. But if you're asking me, I would always recommend to get that license so that you do get that point in the event that you're unsuccessful.
Yeah, and during that second draw too, you will have that opportunity for the youth license fund as well as the resource enhancement stamp that you can donate to when you if you're applying just for a bonus point, even you still get that opportunity.
Just a little bit longer. 600. I remember a few years ago, this file was a little bit smaller.
Yeah, it seems to be growing.
Two-thirds of the way there on that. I'll probably need to compress this file to move it onto the thumb drive. You know what I'll do is I'll go ahead and move these files onto this first thumb drive that we're going to give to Dag Burkett. because that'll take a little bit as well. Right, those have been added, so we just gotta get that assigned numbers. And we are at 721, so about 180 more to go to get us there. So only another minute or two. We'll compress it, download it, put it on the thumb drive, and then we'll just have 3 more to do.
So once that one gets complete, Zach, that means everyone has been assigned their number, their tag.
That is correct. So everybody already has been assigned a number. It took about an hour earlier. Now the system generates those numbers, but we need to pull those out into a report for record keeping. So that is what we are waiting on, is those numbers to be generated in a report for record keeping. So numbers are there. We saw them on that page. 12.2 million of those. This is just a report with a row for each number. Okay, we're at 800. This is going to get up to about 900, I'd expect. About a minute left on that.
And so when the second draw deadline comes into play, this same process is going to take place for the second draw, only at obviously a much smaller scale.
That is correct. So any draw that we run on behalf of the department, this is the process that takes place. Same reports, whether that's the non-resident restricted guided draw, the second draw, the spring turkey draw, or any other thing you could conceive where we're going to be running a draw for the state of Nevada. Obviously, some of it's a bit different with your turkey applications. You don't have party hunting. With the non-resident restricted guided draw, it's a little bit different in the fact you have the guide aspect of it as well. But yep, that's exactly right. All right, I think this report is done. I'm going to compress this really quick. Oops, I don't want to duplicate it. Just going to name this to a text file just to get it smaller. Let's pull this one down to my desktop. That may take 2 minutes remaining, a little less. About a minute. Two, one. There we go. Let's get this out of a text file. Let's compress this file. Close all of this out now. There we go. There's our compressed file. So I'm going to drag that to Dag Burkett's thumb drive. All right. So I'm going to eject this one. Take it out of my computer. And this will go into the envelope, the DAG copy. And we'll seal that envelope. Right, so there's copy number one. Thumb drive number two, unopened. Gonna open it with these scissors. Here it is, I'm gonna connect that to my computer. See that pop up in the right-hand corner here? Nothing on it. Let's add our reports. Okay, those are all added. Let's eject this one. All right. Take that out. That'll go into the audit copy. Or audit envelope, excuse me. There's 2 of 4. 3 of 4, third thumb drive here. Here it is going into the computer. See that pop up here in just a second. Nothing on it. Let's put that assigned file in first. Let's get the rest of these in there. All right, let's eject it. Hey. Pull this one out. This will be in-house copy. Here it is. And one more unopened thumb drive, contractor copy. There it is. I'm gonna put that on the computer. Here it is with nothing on it. So let's add these files to the last thumb drive. All right, let's eject this. And that'll conclude anything that I'm sharing on my screen. Let's get this last one out. Put that in the last envelope. Seal it up. And that is the last copy of the draw results. And that concludes from start to finish the draw process for the 2024 big game tag draw. Parting comments, thank you to all the guests who join us from Endow. Really appreciate you guys helping fill some of the time, make it exciting. Appreciate everybody who watched. Your draw results will be available no later than May 17th, close of business. Thanks, everybody, and good luck.